Sitting on G, waiting on O.
Ready.
Boys are so cute. Oh, Lindsay sent me a question.
She did. That's good.
All right, good evening, everybody. This is Margaret Ann Prater. I'm alongside Coach Bryan Moore. We're here for the Hartsville High School football preview show. We're going to talk about some things going on this football season. Let me go over the plan. I'm going to talk to Coach Moore. I'm going to talk to a couple players, bring Coach Moore back up, and try to get some good info out of him. First, let me thank the members or recognize the members of the broadcast team. It's going to be David Robinson, Brad Sheets, David Evans is out there somewhere getting into trouble, Mark Mizell, and Shane Wiggins. We try to make it through the season. They're great to work with. And also, please tune in every Friday night to the NFHS Network. And also watch the Coach Bryan Moore Show. It's going to be aired on NFHS and on YouTube. So please subscribe and watch, and that will be dropped every Wednesday. Also, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. We've got Eddie Pruitt Ford, Marmac Commercial Real Estate, Life Church, Forms Building and Farm Center, and the Agency on Main. Can't forget Regine and the Tankersley.
That's right.
So, Coach, let's start the show. And one thing that David Robinson told me, he said, I had no idea about this. Last year, this time, I walked over and shook your hand for the first time, never met you, and we sat down and did this show. So, man, it's been a year. It's been a journey, thinking about, getting to know you, all this other stuff. But let's talk about last year, okay? You had a heck of a run. You go 5-2 in Area 8, which my personal opinion is like the SEC West up here in 6A. You lose to Athens and Coleman, but you have big wins over Russellville and Muscle Shoals. You finish 7-4 with a loss to a mature, I would say a more mature Briarwood team. That's my opinion.
Right.
So, what would your view of that season be?
Well, overcoming adversity first. I mean, a lot of things that, that were different. A new year, and I thought our kids did a really good job of handling that. Really new coaching staff, new kids that moved here from different places that we had to sort of gel together. Our first day back was June 1st, so no spring football practice or anything like that, where the foundation really of your program's built. And I was impressed by the way that they fought and really how they improved. I mean, the mark of a team is their improvement through the year. We start 1-2, played a really bad half against Coleman, and then played well in the second half. And made a run at it, and then I think won 6 of our next 7, including the big win over Muscle Shoals that got us out of that 4th place spot in the playoffs, which was a huge win. So I was, and then really, game 9 and 10 with Hazel Green and Buckhorn really hammered them both on the road, which was big. And then we played well early against Briarwood. We're up 14-3 at halftime. And then a little, experience kind of got to us and at the end of that game, and against a really good team.
They had a human Mack truck there.
They did. I mean, they ran over us a little bit right there, and but I was really pleased with our year overall. I mean, a 7-4 for us is not good enough, but given the circumstances, we're pleased to, especially after starting 1-2, to get on a run, to have some success after the previous year being a tough year, and to learn to win again, and then return a lot of those guys back this year. So that's been a lot of fun. It took us till probably the middle of the year last year to really figure out who we were, and move some pieces. We continued to move some personnel around, and finally settled in really about the Muscle Shoals game. After the Athens game, settled in and really played well down the stretch.
I know that, and you and I have discussed this, especially with the coaches show, that you want to build a program. You're not just here to have a season. You're wanting to have a program. So what was your program building moment from last season? If you could look back and say, all right here, this is where my program started.
We had a stretch. We beat Decatur, Columbia, and Russellville, and played well, especially against Russellville in the second half. I thought that was a big deal. But then, the next week against Athens, we played terrible. We really played bad, and they dominated the football game there. And that Monday, we came out and had kind of an old school, come to Jesus type football practice, and put the ball down, ran it every snap, and just scrimmaged and tackled live. Everybody was live, including the quarterbacks, and we just got after it. And I think that showed that Friday night against Muscle Shoals, where we ran for 300 yards. After it was 9-0, they were beating us. I think we reeled off 35 unanswered points. I mean, it was a dominating finish to that game, and I think that was the defining moment. I think for us is just kind of getting back to who Hartselle is, and just sort of saying, we might risk an injury, at practice or whatever, but if we don't fix this, then we're not going to have any success. If we don't get back to, stopping the run and running the football and dominating ball games, we're not going to be who we want to be here and who we need to be successful. And I think that was a defining moment for us.
I agree. I mean, it's not your opinion, but I completely agree. All right, speaking of program, I want to go over, you've got a slogan this year. #own it.
Yeah.
So
thanks to Ms. Prater, yeah.
But tell us what Own It's about. What are you got? Because as a social media person, I'm tagging everything with Own It. So I want your audience to understand what's behind that.
Well, I think it's 2021, and we're in a season of kind of where we are. Obviously with teenagers, but I think in society that we have very little accountability. There's a real victim mentality. I could go on and on with that, but I don't want our boys to do that. I don't want our coaches or any of our support staff or anybody around our program to not be accountable for what we do. And so if that's showing up 2 minutes late to a workout or stepping on a line where you're supposed to be behind it, there's going to be a consequence for everything that we do. And if we'll take ownership, not only with the accountability piece, but also, with what Hartselle means to us and the legacy specifically that our seniors are trying to lead, then that ownership becomes a vital piece. And, I was reading a book, Ryan Holiday's the author. I'm a big fan of his anyway. And it talks about, working like it's yours. And it tells a story. It was in a podcast he did of going to a Subway. And the guy went to a Subway, and this person was back there and was fixing all the sandwiches and working like crazy. And he just looked at him and said, "How many of these do you own?" It was a person dressed like every other Subway employee. And the man said, how do you know that I own these? And he said, because nobody else would work like you do. Nobody would take pride in what they have the way that you do. And I think that we have to bring that to the table and care about our things for, owning the way that our locker looks, the way that our team room looks. We've done a ton of upgrades in our facilities and wrote "Own It" on the wall, and had an artist come in and paint some really cool stuff. But all of that was to take pride in what we have, and it's amazing if the ownership you show carries over and people see that. And so I just thought that was a great, you and I went through a million of these slogans and, what do we want to do? And we're talking about no excuses and different stuff, but ownership in what you do kind of carries so much weight and sort of encompasses all of the things that we were talking about. And I thought that was a great slogan. I think if our team will do that, we'll have a great chance to be successful.
Well, I brought that up because I love the message behind it. And like I said, it's on everything that I'm putting out on social media, so I want everybody to know about it. One more general, character ed. Yeah. What have you guys done this summer? Because I know you've done a lot of character building, and I want you to share that with the community because not everybody is looking on social media to see some of the great things you guys have done.
Yeah, I mean, we try and serve first. I mean, I think, it's one thing to talk about, being service-minded and having a servant mentality, but doing it, trying to get out in the community and do that. And we hope that, in the fall that we can be more part of our elementary schools and do those kinds of things. And we try and participate in a lot of different stuff. But I think for me, basically I pick a theme a week. And right now we're talking about responding to, and we've had guest speakers, and we have one tomorrow, had one yesterday. Dr. Cooper hooked us up with one yesterday that did a tremendous job. And but we want to talk about a certain thing and focus on that from the weight room, how we respond to adversity that comes our way, both in life and in football. And we want to, talk about that with the players every day. And I think the most important thing is that we're all in tune. So on Sundays, I send the coaching staff basically the layout for the week and then, what the character message will be so that we're all speaking the same language, and we're trying to put kids in adverse situations throughout practice or whatever to make them respond the right way to it, not be reactive, but be able to respond to things that come up in your life. And so we talked a lot about that this week, and that's important to me. I think it's sort of, we don't know, we got 100 players or so, I don't, and coaches too, and I don't know what those guys bring every day, to football. Or what they brought from home or what they're dealing with. I'm not in every one of their lives. I don't see, what they go through every day. I try to, but I don't. And I want that to be able sort of to be get it to neutral. Let's get in, refresh, and then refocus ourselves on what we need to do. And again, just all pull and speak the same language about that. And that's really important to me. It has been the whole time. And I hope the kids get something out of it. I know I take pride in doing it, put it up on our TVs in the facility and stuff like that, and just try to make it be all about that theme for the week.
Okay. Then now personnel.
Yeah.
I promise we're going to get to actual players and what you do on the field. We've had some coaching changes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who's new, what they're coaching. So when people see those new faces or hear those names, they know who it belongs to.
Yeah, so primarily the defensive side of the ball has been the biggest turnover. We hired Buddy Pell as our defense coordinator. Buddy's been with us since March, and so he's been around for a while and done a tremendous job. He's a rising star in the profession and really going to do a good job. Moose Cole is still there, but was promoted to our co-defensive coordinator, coaching the back end. He does a lot for me that people don't know about as a veteran guy. He really does a good job. We hired Wade Miller as our linebackers coach. All these things happened all the way up until July, so it's been a crazy year. Wade played here, played for the state championship team. His dad Tim coached here forever. Hartselle means a ton to Wade. That's important to me in a mixture of coaching, coaching staff members, guys that can bring new ideas and new blood, so to speak, but also the guys that Hartselle matters to, and there's some longevity in them being here. I think there's a good mix of that, and then Jerry Fulks as our D-line coach. He was the head coach at Rogers. So at Hartselle, this I think speaks volumes for where we are, that we can attract head coaches to come be position coaches for us. And so I think that to me was huge, a guy in Jerry that understands all that it takes to be a head coach. So he does so much for me too, like Moose does, that, from laundry to, organizational things that other people just maybe don't think about. When I was an assistant, I didn't think about.
They might think about commuting. You've got several coaches from that area that commute.
They need to jump in together.
Exactly.
And then offensively, we hired Cyrus Swearingen. Cy was from James Clemens, came to us as not only an O-line guy to help Coach Prater, but also as our strength and conditioning coordinator. He had worked out, really cool thing about him, not only the football team at James Clemens, but every sport. So every sport came to him kind of throughout the day. And so he trained female athletes, male athletes, soccer, every sport you can imagine. He trained them, and he's brought an incredible sense of urgency. We moved quickly through the weight room. And then also an accountability piece that I thought we were lacking, that we really needed to bring to the table. So I've been really pleased with that. And then Skylar Foreman coming up from our junior high to coach our fullbacks, which was the position I coached. But it allowed me to get out of coaching a position, which allowed me to sort of consult and see things from an aerial view. So like during practice, I get to sort of move around, and I get to really honestly appreciate the staff that I have. Watch those guys work, watch the kids work. Because when you're in a position, you spend 90% of your time with that group of 4 or 5 guys, and you don't see the big picture. And so being a head coach and being able to move around and go to the defensive end of the field some and see those guys, it's been fun. I told Dr. Cooper the other night, it's just been fun to just kind of see it all, because again, when you look at just your spot, you can't see and observe the way you want to. Another, I hope I don't jump ahead, but Coach Gladden going to our junior high and taking that program. We're talking about building a whole program. That's part of it. I've been so concerned about the future of that program. And so year one, I had to come and find a way to win varsity football games. That had to be our focus. I mean, no way around it. And then year 2, I feel more settled with our varsity staff. So seeing Coach Gladden take that junior high program and have 7 assistants on our junior high is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so now we have basically a varsity staff coaching our junior high too, a 20-plus year veteran, national champion coaching our junior high. That's important to me, and it matters in the way that he's going to go about that. I went and watched them practice Monday and was very pleased with what they were doing and the organization, and I'm just excited. I'm excited about the future from bottom up.
Well, and you're not going to take credit for it, but from the outside looking in, and people from the community talked to me, and they were so impressed with the fact that you kind of had that coaching carousel thing going on, and the chemistry that these guys have. Whenever you add somebody new, they just fit right in. It seems like they just fit right in the fold, and you can see that they all get along well, and it seems like such a cohesive unit. And that's something rare.
Well, and it's a standard, though. It's and you hate to lose guys. I mean, but at Hartsville, just to be frank, we have a great staff that was built. Started with Coach Godsey, and now I've been able to take over with a lot of those guys still there. Well, some of those guys are going to leave. When you have really good staff members, sometimes that's going to happen. But basically, the way that we've gone about it and the way that we work to create that continuity with our staff members has really paid off, and really we haven't skipped a beat.
Now we're going to come to my favorite question. We're going to we've started a tradition. I asked your wife last year to send me a question. I wouldn't let you know anything about it. And let me tell the audience, he knows nothing I'm asking. He doesn't want to know. He comes up with these answers just off the top of his head.
This is scary, to be honest.
Oh, this one's awesome, because I told her, I said, this was amazing, and she said, I'm just going to throw him, curveball. So, if you could be any Disney character, what would it be and why?
Would this come from Suzanne?
No, this came from the blonde right back there with her hand up in the air.
If I could be any Disney character, I don't know. I guess I'd be Goofy if I could be one. When I was a kid, everybody had the Mickey ears and everything, and I wanted the floppy hat. I just enjoy that stuff, and my family still goes like crazy, and I guess I'd have to be Goofy.
I've seen the matching T-shirt.
Yes. Oh yeah, I do have the matching shirt.
I love it.
My wife is a Disney princess, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I saw those. I've seen that.
Or Straight Outta Money. I've got that one too.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the Hartsville High School football preview show. I just spit everywhere.
Hey, football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartsville football underway. 2020 season, expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartsville, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!
All right, we're back. I'm Margaret Ann Prater alongside Coach Bryan Moore, and we're here to preview the Hartsville High School football season for 2021. Coach, let's just jump right into region play. You've got the SEC West of 6A, according to me anyway. What can you tell us about the way the region's going to shape up? We talked last year in the coaches show about Athens having their team last year. They lost a ton of seniors. But now Coleman, they just won't go away. So tell us what's going on.
Well, I mean, we do play a really good region, and then Muscle Shoals probably, as far as bringing back experience, returns as much as we do. I would think that us and Muscle Shoals bring back probably the most. We were so young. That doesn't guarantee you anything, but kids at least have been through it. And Coleman, Oscar's doing such a good job there that they are continuing to roll, and the way that they worked out. He's in year 3 now. And has really done a good job with them. And then, of course, Athens, I mean, yes, they did lose a lot, but Coach Gross has been there a long time. And when there's that kind of a continuity for, I think he's been there at least 5 years. I mean, they have really built that program from the ground up, and so those kids are big and strong, and they lift hard, and and so you got to find those little edges in there, and then on top of that, Hazel Green will be better. Coach Shrink is doing good. That we played them in a 7-on-7 this summer, and they beat us, and they're very talented. They're very athletic, and then Buckhorn hired Matt Patterson, who I think a lot of that was at Bob Jones. So our region's pretty good, and so we'll have to play really well in every week.
And while we're talking about the schedule, first 3 games are away. I mean, what kind of road warrior mentality are y'all trying to have here? You got to hold on that first 3 games, and then you're going to be at home a lot.
Yeah, those games are, at least 2 of the 3 are at common places that we're used to going, I think there's something to be said about that. One of my biggest concerns, like in the playoffs, for example, is when you travel somewhere you've never been.
Right.
The unfamiliarity piece, for us, when we go to Austin, we've done that. We went in JV in 9th grade last year. Most of our kids have been there and played. It's a great venue to play, great field, turf field, really nice. And then, of course, go to Mae Jemison and then go to Coleman. So, yeah, it'll be 3 really tough games on the road, probably 2 of the best 3 teams, or 2 of the best teams that we play all year in the first 3 games. So, it'll be a real challenge. We'll have to go play well early.
Okay, let's talk about offense, because we do want to get out of here before it's everybody's bedtime. Let's start with your quarterbacks. Last year you didn't have one really. You had Parker Sawyer coming in, you had JT Blackwood transferring in,
right.
You had a young guy in Jack Smith, and you really didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
I mean, you had some ideas. So now you got JT, who's had playing time.
Yep.
We watched Jack throw a touchdown pass at Buckhorn. I love to see his confidence coming up. So way ahead of where you are last year.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Those guys have really, first off, I love that room. I love that group of kids, including Noah Lee and Landon too. And just having those guys be close matters to me. To see them, even though, so to speak, they're competing for a position, they're close and friends, and we've got one in every grade. And it couldn't be better in that regard. And our plan last year, JT and Parker were both to the standard to play. And so we played them both in different ways. And the point behind that was so that JT this year would have a year of basically starting under his belt, which he now does. So his experience and being able to be comfortable with the speed of the game at the level we play was important. And we'll do the same thing for Jack this year. We'll find roles for him. And even Landon, he's on our kickoff return team, he and Jack both. We want to put guys to be able to see the speed of the game so that they can be comfortable when they're starters. What we don't want is for a guy, I see that in college sometimes, a guy that's going to be the starter is throwing like 3 passes. Like, you better get that guy some experience, prior to going into the next year so that he knows what's expected. So it's going to be really huge. Landon will play JV, will be our JV quarterback, and then Noah Lee will be our freshman quarterback. And so we'll get those guys, 5+ games at least under their belt at those levels, and then try and wrinkle them in when we can with the varsity too. So that position is as good as I've ever had it.
Well, I want to touch on this. I was going to talk about it in another segment, maybe getting ahead of myself. But now last year, it was terrifying and fun at the same time from watching me. But you guys took these kids and you looked at that roster and you were just like, well, let's try him here.
Yeah.
Let's try him here.
It was some musical chairs, yeah.
Right, and it was so unconventional from typical high school football programs. And it was so interesting to watch, and that's why when I come to this next position, that's what happened there. Right now, we're looking at running backs.
Right.
You got Rye Fletcher. Now, when we were sitting in here last August, that wasn't who your running back was.
Right.
Your running back from last year is now your linebacker.
Right.
So, what are we going to do? All right, Mookie's moved to linebacker. Is he going to stay there? Are we going to move him around?
He'll play some crossover stuff to give us some depth at running back. We've got some young kids we feel good about, but Rye's the guy, and he's ready for that. Armando O'Donegan can play there some too. So we've got a couple pieces, and there's some other guys defensively for a depth. From depth purposes that can give us some if we want, but we'll try not to do that a whole lot. Jack Smith can take some reps as a back, more of like a wildcat type role, but those carries, out of those, say you run it 30 times in a ball game, we'll try to 10 to 15 of those to be kind of unconventional. JT will run it some too, and so we'll do a little of that as well, but they'll help take a little bit of the load off Rye because him playing 70 snaps is tough. And so we'll have to wrinkle guys in to help do that.
Right, and speaking of Fletcher, we got another Fletcher at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Zay's going to be your primary, of course. You got a lot of talent coming back. You know, I was looking at your statistics, and you had 2 seniors contribute really at wide receiver, and that was it.
There's a lot
of
back.
young guys.
Isaiah being the primary guy, but Eli Tidwell has a ton of experience and has had a great summer and great fall camp so far. Diego Valentin has done a really good job too, and a guy that sort of earned. He's a great case study for a guy that has worked his way into finding a chance to play. As a senior, so not very much playing time all the way up, and just worked his ways there every day. RJ Gray, RJ as a sophomore was in the band.
Oh, he was in my class.
Good,
drummer.
outstanding kid. Came to us as a junior, was a JV superstar last year. Caught a touchdown in every game, and then, like I said, Armadio will be the other guy that will contribute at receiver and be a versatile piece. So we feel really good about that. We've got 5 guys at the receiver position that we feel really confident in. So that's encouraging too.
That's awesome. And I say this next question kind of tongue in cheek, but then again I don't. Offensive line last year. I'm related to a coach, but now he's not complaining as much.
That's good.
And you know him. Complaining is his love language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that?
Well, first, he and I had some interesting end of the year evals. So we had to get Coach Prater on the positive train a little bit. But no, he had 4 new starters last year. I mean, he had one guy, Ryan Garrison, returning that had played any. And so 4 new starters. We actually have gone back, and I see about 4 of them back there at the back table, but we had gone back and watched film from Austin as we prepare. Periods of our practice have been geared towards Austin. A lot of them have been sharpening and Hartselle versus Hartselle, but we've worked on some Austin stuff too, different fronts, different coverages, and that sort of thing. So we've watched some film. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I don't have any other way to put it. They weren't ready. I mean, we they had to sort of figure it out, thrown in the fire.
That's a unit that's got to gel.
It does, and the kids were outmatched a little bit early, but they kept getting better and better, and they settled into positions. We had 2 sophomores and a freshman starting last year on the offensive line, so those guys are all back, and so we've got about 8 guys that we feel really at least 8 that we feel really confident in. Other guys that have come along too that are providing great depth for us, and will see some time on Friday nights. So we're in a much different spot than we were this time a year ago.
Well, that's the offense, but you've gotten a couple of players that you have voluntold that they're going to come talk to me.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to give you a break. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, quarterback JT Blackwood is going to come under the ring light and answer a few questions. We'll be right back. You're watching the Hartselle High School Preview Show on the NFHS Network.
Focus is providing service second to none. If you're looking to buy commercial property, development land, income-producing properties, or a farm, call the Marmac Commercial Team. We provide service second to none. You can reach us at 256-214-2196 or 214-2227, or you can find us on our website at www.marmaccommercial.com.
I'm Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. Grill burgers, kebabs, steaks at 800 degrees, slow smoke a perfect slab of ribs, and even bake a crispy pizza. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience.
All right, we're back. I'm Margaret Ann Prater alongside QB1, JT Blackwood. And JT, you're the first guy that gets to be in the hot seat. I'm sorry. You're coming into this season a veteran, okay? Last year, not much playing time. You transferred in from Coleman. How does the feeling going into this season differ from last year?
This year, I think I like playing a little bit last year. I feel like the game has slowed down a little bit this year. I have been able to make decisions and get a little bit quicker.
So it's a whole lot easier to adapt to what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What did you do differently this off season? Because, we don't have COVID restrictions.
Yes, ma'am.
But I do know that, talking to the coaches and talking to Coach Moore, y'all have done some different things strength and conditioning wise. So what have you done differently or that you've noticed this off season?
We've been able to go to some OTAs with other schools and compete and see the competition out there in 6A.
And did you enjoy? Was this 11 on 11 or was it 7 on 7?
We had one 7-on-7 tournament and I think 4 OTAs.
And you thought they were worth your time?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not a fan of 7 on 7, but that's just me. So don't ask my brother about that either. All right, who are going to be your leaders on offense? Who are you going to look to? I know you're supposed to lead. You're the quarterback calling the plays back there. But who are you going to look? Who are you go to, guys?
Well, I think it all starts with the offensive line because without them, we can't get anything started. But I think everybody. I'm going to look to. I'm going to look to everybody because I think everybody's equally. I can distribute the ball to everybody.
Okay.
So.
Okay, that's a good answer. And you guys did a lot of activities together to kind of bond as a team. What was your favorite thing y'all did this off season?
Personally, I like going to the 7-on-7 camp with all my receivers, got like timing down, and just got to hang out with everybody the whole day.
Now, did you go to any other football camps this summer?
Yes, ma'am. I think I went to like 8 different ones. Yes.
Oh, wow. So you've been really busy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, you answered them quick, so we're going to take a break. We'll be back, and then it's the defensive side of the ball, and that's you, Dom Simmons. We'll be right back. Thank you. You're done.
Thank you.
That was cool.
Y'all.
We're proud to announce we're now agency on Main.
Hey football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartsville football underway. 2020 season is expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartsville, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!
All right, we're back with the Hartsville High School football preview show for the 2021 season. Got my defensive star here in Dom Simmons. And first off, you took my class twice a day and survived. So kudos to you, sir. You made it, but you got to have some questions. And I know you love questions because you told me about how much you love presenting in my class. But anyway, the arm. Let's talk about that. Last season, was it Buckhorn? Or was it Hazel Green?
No, Hazel Green.
Hazel Green. I knew that arm wasn't right.
Yeah.
And then you had a pretty severe injury. So tell us.
Went to tackle somebody and got hit from behind and hyperextended and tore 3 ligaments in my elbow.
So you sat out most of basketball.
I sat out till January in basketball, so 3 months from when I injured it.
And you 100% now?
Yeah, I'd probably say 98. I'm about there.
But they're saying full recovery. You shouldn't have any lasting damage or anything like that. That's awesome. All right. So you're going with you're on the defensive line.
Yep.
And I'm gonna be honest. If we're looking at the oh goodness, this is new, it's you guys.
Yep.
And let me just say 3 names: Seth Lockett, E.J. Colbert, Kelvin Morris.
Yep.
3 formidable guys. They're gone.
Yep.
You know, and when you run a 4-man front, 3 of you guys are gone.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you guys are doing to replace those guys?
Well, we have had some freshmen step up and into the position, and they're doing pretty good at it. The Green brothers, they've really stepped up. We had a senior come back out to play football, and he's pretty good.
That's Brody Morrow.
Yeah, Brody Morrow.
Yeah.
So we're pretty good.
Y'all gonna be all right?
Yeah,
Y'all
we'll be
all
pretty
right?
good this year.
Well, you're gonna be quick, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be, because y'all aren't real big.
Not too big.
No, not too big, but that's okay. I'm gonna ask you the same 2 questions I asked JT.
Okay.
All right, so your off season, How was it different for you from last year?
Well, last year I played linebacker, and this year I'm playing defensive end, so I had to learn a bunch of new techniques and go through different stuff in practice. I don't know. That's about it.
Has this season been more intense this summer than last year?
Yeah, because of COVID and everything that happened last year, they were still worrisome and didn't really know what to do. But this year we kind of got everything figured out and been rocking and rolling.
So you think your chemistry's better, team
Yeah.
chemistry and all that. What's been your favorite football activity this summer? And then you're off the hook.
Probably the OTAs that we do. It's just 11 on 11, played Grissom. That was pretty fun. We went down to Mountain Brook and played at their stadium. That was pretty fun.
Sounds like a plan. All right, before we go to break, I want to thank our sponsors, Eddie Pruitt Ford, Marmac Commercial Real Estate, Life Church, Quorum's Building and Farm Center, and the agency on Main. Let's give Dom Simmons and JT Blackwood a big hand. We'll be right back after these messages. Great job. Great job.
At Marmac Commercial Real Estate, our focus is providing service second to none. If you're looking to buy commercial property, development land, income-producing properties, or a farm, call the Marmac Commercial team. We provide service second to none. You can reach us at 256-214-2196 or 214-2227, or you can find us on our website at www.marmaccommercial.com.
All right, we're back. Margaret Ann Prater got a new guy back, Coach Moore. May not win an Emmy for this one, but I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Dom. I'm going to say three names: Seth Lockett, E.J. Colbert, Kelvin Morris. Dang.
Yeah, that's
They're gone.
It's a lot to lose,
Right.
for sure. But we've got guys that are like Dom, that have experience. Not a ton. Dom played there, mostly linebacker last year, but slid down late, and so he's got experience. And so does Dalton Green. So we've got a few guys that have done it before. We probably have more big bodies than we had a year ago. We just don't have the experience at top end, maybe that we had a year ago. Not yet, at least. And so that's a question mark, no doubt. You had three guys that had played multiple years, albeit at different schools, a couple of them, but they had played multiple years. And so guys like Dom will have to really come in and do a good job to replace them.
Well, and then now linebackers, when I look at the linebacking core, you're returning a lot of experience there.
Yeah, for
not a lot of doubt in my mind.
Right.
You can kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, that's the strength of our defense. DBs, we're pretty good on the back end as well,
Okay.
some experience. But as far as senior leadership, Mookie, of course, moving over last year, that was, you could look at so many different things that you could point out that made a difference in our program, with like Bull moving over to play
Right.
the safety spot. And of course, Mookie too, moving over there. Those were two key guys offensively that we sort of had to give up. But ultimately, and first day I met Bert Newton, I said, I'm an offensive guy, but you're going to get the best players. Like, I'm going to give you everybody that I possibly can. Because if we can't stop people, we can't win. And so, that was something that made a difference. But back to the linebackers, Isaac, led us in tackles last year, played the Mike position until Mookie slid over, and then he became the Sam, the strong side linebacker. And this year played more Will, the weak side linebacker, because he's a box fitter. And then Trace Oden will be the Sam, longer, rangy, 6'5" guy.
Right.
So we feel really good about that. And those guys are physical and violent, and they play really, really hard. and we're excited about them. They'll, once again, they'll make a ton of tackles, and those D linemen won't get a bunch of the credit, but they'll be taking up blockers and everything for those guys to run around. And then another one I'll mention is Jake Haynes. I mean, Jake has really come on as a guy that's going to blossom into a future, star, I think, and be a really good player. He's very accountable, hard-nosed, good, long, good-looking kid. And so we feel good about that, him being the fourth guy. And then there are 4 freshmen that are there that have really come in and done a good job too. So we're excited about that position.
Well, and you know that you guys aren't scared to play freshmen.
No, we'll do it.
Because you can look at our roster last year. Well, and, I was talking, you were talking about the DBs, because, I was talking, I got an offensive coach on my hallway, so we were chatting, I was trying to get some intel for tonight. And, he said, we look pretty good at DB, and then I looked at your tackles.
Yeah.
And Shields and Snelson were way up there.
Right.
They're not there anymore.
Right.
So, who you got stepping in, and that's also going to be punt returns, too, with Eli not being there.
Sure. I think that first, Bull and Peyton Steele, being back are 2 now veteran, even though they're just 10th and 11th graders, still veteran guys that played a lot last year. That's big for us to have those guys back. Jake England is a guy that played as a freshman, started the Austin game last year, and we feel really good about him. They sort of play what we call a spur and rover, which can be an outside linebacker, safety type guy, and both of them coming down and tackling and that sort of thing. And so we feel good about those positions. Peyton Roberts playing in there. Peyton is a wrestler that came out and is very physical, and has really come into his own and really played well in the spring game. It really popped for us in the spring. And then DJ Bishop moved to us from Eufaula, where I was a long time ago, moved to play free safety. We feel really good about him. And then so Jacaleb, what that did was it slid Jacaleb Goodwin, who played and made 80 tackles as a freshman last year, out to corner, Walker Hoyle at the other corner, and Drake Borden. So we've got a lot of capable
guys,
bodies. Yeah, probably 7 or 8 guys that can play those 5 positions and are very interchangeable. So that's a strength of our team. They can run and tackle, and so we're really excited about those guys.
Sounds good. All right, we're almost done.
Good.
We're almost done. Because, you go to special teams, you got Crawford Lang.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, you make a 51-yard field goal in the playoffs, you're pretty good.
Yeah, making 51-yard field goals. He's averaging, 40 yards a punt?
Yeah.
Close to it?
Yep, touchbacks.
Yeah, so who are going to be our returners? That would be my question.
Yeah, well, I want to mention one thing real quick. We went out against Austin, and I've told some people this story, and we had put a drive together in the second quarter of that game. I think the game was 10-0, and so we were okay, hanging in there a little bit. We put a drive together, and we got to like the plus 20, and so it's a 37-yard field goal. We attempted it, and so the snapper was Zeke McCann, who was a 10th grader. The holder was Jack Smith, who was a 10th grader, and the kicker was Crawford Lang, who was a 10th grader, who in that moment had a big leg but hadn't really kicked any. I mean, they had a kicker before him, and so Crawford was, and we barely got the ball on the block, and barely kicked it past the line of scrimmage. And so that's where we were all the way to game 11. We snap it with all 3 of those 10th graders and we make a 51-yard field goal. So I think, the progression of our special teams, Crawford, but also the battery and, the snapper holder, the front people being able to hold up in protection. I thought that all developed tremendously. The returners, we've got really, several, but the 3 main guys are Eli Tidwell, Ryan, Isaiah Fletcher. Those will be the guys that will be back there handling it. Some other guys will help with kickoff return. Armadio will help some there too. But we feel good about those guys, and they're all coming back again next year. So that's very encouraging and exciting.
So you got some depth.
Yeah, and we scored. We scored a touchdown against Hazel Green. Rye took the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. So we've got the ability to score what I call easy touchdowns. They're not, but easier than driving 12 plays. Hitting a home run on a kickoff return, that is a game-changing type moment. Or like the big return that Eli had against Muscle Shoals that put us at the plus 40. Parker scores the next play, and then it was a route from there. That was a momentum, like game-changing play. Eli returned it for like 25 yards. But that was a huge moment, and so special teams can really make a difference, and I think we'll win that phase.
You got me excited about this. I'm getting ready for football now. I'm fired up. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Let's thank our sponsors, and I got a couple more questions, and we're going to give this guy the rest of the night off. Eddie Pruitt Ford, Marmac Commercial Real Estate, Life Church, Corums Building and Farm Center, and the Agency on Main. We'll be right back. I want to ask you about COVID.
and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. Grill burgers, kebabs, steaks at 800 degrees, slow smoke a perfect slab of ribs, and even bake a crispy pizza. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience.
We're proud to announce we're now 18 on Main.
Okay, Margaret Ann Prater alongside Coach Bryan Moore. This is our last segment, and it's a question that nobody wants to talk about, but I'm still going to ask the question because I know there are parents, grandparents everywhere asking. That bad, dirty word is coming back, COVID. So are we going to have any changes? Is the AHSAA implementing anything different? Are we going to do anything different on the sidelines? I remember last year you talking about traveling and how you had to have all these extra buses and things like that. Are we going to have a normal football season?
Yeah, I would say much more normal than we had last year. You know, as of right now, we're proceeding with no, capacity regulations and or masks, ordinances. You know, I talked to a friend of mine that's a doctor just 2 days ago, or yesterday actually, and we talked about, outdoor activities. There's very little behind, the spread of it in an outside venue. And so, for us now, there's still locker room precautions, and we're not requiring masks right now, but we're going to be really cautious and stay on top of that. My thing is, yes, we want it to go back to normal, but we need to be really proactive in how we maintain and get to that normal.
Right.
How do we, we got 2 weeks to get to normal here and start playing games. And I think if we can survive the start of school, in the first game or so, then we can have a normal season. But as of right now, we're still, making sure that we're smart about what we do, how we wash our hands and fog, and have Dr. Cooper and Coach Smith just ordered us some new ways to keep the locker room clean, and and so we're always fogging and being precautious, but we don't want to have what we did last year. So we want to be proactive in how we handle it.
Exactly. All right, that's all the questions I have. If you don't have any comments, I want to invite you to please tune in to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. It will drop on Wednesdays on our YouTube channel, as well as the NFHS Network. Also tune in every Friday night to the NFHS Network with the team of David Evans, Mark Mizell, and Shane Wiggins coming to you. And if one of them goes to the wayside, I'll step in, but that usually doesn't happen. But I want to thank you guys, and thank you to the crowd here. Y'all have been wonderful. It's great to see a full house, and we'll see you August 21st.